Today we're on location and I'm excited to be here with Felipe Hernandez from L.A. Lot. He's a residential designer and a permit consultant who specializes in ADUs, SB9 projects, and other residential developments. Felipe earned his bachelor's degree of science in civil engineering from USC. After graduating, he worked with major construction companies. Later on, he joined Los Angeles Department of Building and Safety as a plan checker. After that time, he founded L.A. Lot, where he helps homeowners and developers navigate and design permitting processes for ADUs, SB9 projects, and other residential developments. His goal is to simplify complex city requirements, state laws, and local ordinances so that homeowners and developers can understand their options for contributing and creating more housing in Southern California. Felipe is also a toddler, so I am really excited to talk to him and see how he balances work and life. Did I
I'm a
miss
toddler?
anything?
You said I'm a toddler?
You have a toddler?
Okay. No worries. I am a toddler though too.
Are
I'm
you?
just learning. I'm just learning.
Toddler and being a business owner, right?
Oh yeah, I'm brand new. Like maybe this is my third year, you know. So yeah, 3 years in business. Like, you learn a lot, but there's always way more to learn, right?
No, of course, learning. You're always learning, especially
Always
in real
learning.
estate. So how, I mean, you have such an interesting career path. Take us on your journey.
Yeah, sure. Man, I could start. I guess starting from the most relevant. I I did civil engineering with a building science emphasis at USC. So basically, what the degree that I got was a civil engineering degree, but a third of our classes were in the architecture school.
Wow.
So um I spent basically 3 years with the same people, with the same little group, um, that went from like 15 people to I think eventually was only like 7 people.
Wow.
Yeah, in that little group, right? So we had a lot of time together and really delved deep into architecture and studio. And that's really where I learned a lot of my um that's really where I got a lot of my education, obviously from classes, but particularly from that area, from that studio, right?
Okay.
In the
Yeah.
architecture school. After that, I went into the construction industry, did that for a while, and then I went to building and safety, um, and now I'm here. Yeah,
What made you leave a cushy job in the city with benefits to start your own business?
yeah, that's a good question. So everybody was always like, Felipe, what are you doing? You have good benefits here. You have this, and that. Yeah, you're gonna get a pension. But honestly, it didn't. Every time I looked at houses on Zillow, on Redfin, every month, sometimes even every week, it seemed like they were getting more and more expensive. And it wasn't like my salary was proportional to how expensive these houses were getting, right? So I was like, man, if I stay here, how am I ever going to be able to afford a house? You know, if I need this much down payment, and if I need to be able to make this like much for this long, like when am I going to be able to afford it? I'm like, I got to start thinking differently, right? I got to start thinking differently. What else can I do? Um, I would see people coming to the city, people that I would see doing really bad work, coming in Porsches. Not that I was jealous or anything, but it just opened my eyes.
Like, I can have this
I'm
myself.
like,
Yeah.
I can or I can do what they're doing probably a lot better and with like more integrity. And I can fulfill, right? I know if somebody hires me, I won't let them down. So how could I fail, right? The only thing that was holding me back is always yourself, right? You're like, pero y si no me va bien? What if I don't do well? What if I need to find another job? What if I need to come back? But I didn't have a kid at that time. I didn't have like many responsibilities other than maybe, supporting my mom a little bit. So I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, this is the time to do it. So I left, and it was hard in the beginning, right? But um, one of the big reasons that we're here is because of social media, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I started doing. I started doing social media. Scary at first. It's uncomfortable, right? Being in front of the camera, talking to a camera. But I had to make that decision, right? I had to make that decision, and yeah, that's basically why I left the city.
That's good. I mean, and like you said, it's scary, but it's something you needed as a stepping stone for your future. And even though you left the benefits, now you're your own boss. So, for someone who's considering an ADU, what are the first three things that they should know before they hire a contractor or even start?
So if anybody's thinking about
Mhm.
doing an ADU, a remodel in their house, maybe even purchasing or like creating or developing a new home, first, I think number one, you need to know who you're doing it for. Right? Is it for you? Is it for your mom? Let's just say, for example, right, an ADU. Is it for yourself? Is it for a family member, your mom, your dad? Are they getting a little bit older? Do they need certain things, right? Certain clearances, or are you just using it for rental, right? Then how many bedrooms do you need, right? If you're just doing it for a parent, you can even get away with a studio, right?
Yeah.
Or a garage conversion. But if you're doing it for rental,
Oh, yeah. You need two to
you
three
need a
bedrooms.
you need a,
Yeah.
at least one
Yeah.
bedroom to make sense, two bedroom depending on the area, et cetera,
Hmm.
right? So first, figure out who you're doing it for. Number two, finances, right? Your finances should be in order. Like I can't just decide, oh, I'm gonna build a 2-story ADU, um, 1,200 square feet today, 2 stories, like, and I want it to have all glass because I don't have that money, right? So you got to figure out where you're gonna get your money from. Is it gonna be from equity from another property that you have? Do you just have cash in hand? Is somebody gonna gift you cash or
Oh, that'd be
money?
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? So figure that out. And then number three, figure out how much it's gonna cost, right?
Hmm.
Figure out how much it's gonna cost. Typically talk to a contractor, but the contractors now, they want to see something, like
Yeah.
they want to see a plan, right? And I agree with them. How are you gonna give a price on something without having a plan,
Yeah, exactly. You
right?
need you need a visual as for
Right.
them to give you quotes and at least an accurate quote.
Yeah, at least, yeah. So even if you look up something online, I would say look up a couple of ADUs or projects that you're like, I kind of want it to look like this, so that they can even have a rough idea, right?
Okay.
Or you could start consulting somebody like myself. But somebody like myself, I dedicate myself so much into like the code, into design, and not specifically on how much it's gonna cost, unfortunately. But I mean, right now, at least in the city of LA, a good rule of thumb is about 300 to 350 a square foot.
Okay, that's a good estimate.
Mhm.
And I know you meant now you have to go with a lot of ordinances, right? You have like the state level, the local, and like different cities. So when it's time to build, which one can the homeowners expect to build based on those ordinances?
So in the state of California, you're allowed to have, by right, you're on your property, as long as it's residential, commercial, as long as I believe it's not industrial, you can have by right an 800 square foot ADU. So even if your lot is very, very tight,
Hmm.
you can have an 800 square foot ADU on your lot, even if you just have the front yard
Oh, that's
open.
amazing.
You could put it there. If you don't have any rear yard, if you don't have a garage, you can put it at the front, from my understanding, right? Don't quote me, look it up
Hmm.
yourselves, connect with your city department. But that's a big one, right? A lot of people are doing are now maybe they converted their garage or maybe they converted a portion of their home many years ago. Well, now there's I believe AB 2355, and you can just go to the city and say, look, I have proof that it was built
Okay.
before 2020. Here's my proof, and I would like to get it permitted. And I believe even right now, as of maybe a couple days or a couple weeks ago, that process has gotten even easier.
Oh, no, that's good. And it's hot today, guys. No, that's good to know. And a lot of people have heard about like SB9. What is it? Because most of us may not be familiarized with it.
Yeah. So SB9 is basically it's a law. It's stands for Senate Bill 9, and what it is, it basically allows you to either have an extra unit on your lot, not an ADU, right? Because an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit, and that requires a main house to be at the front or to be on site in order for you to have an ADU or for the ADU to exist. But the SB9 can be a standalone unit. Um, so an SB9 can either be a standalone unit or you could use it to split your lot and have two single family dwellings on each lot. That's basically what it is.
Oh, no, perfect. That's good. And it's good to know, have your options and make sure you talk to an architect or a residential designer so they can tell you exactly what you can build in your property, right? Um, what are the biggest misconceptions you hear about ADUs or SB9s from homeowners or developers?
Biggest misconceptions? Give me an example.
Well,
Like,
like if something's not allowed, or sometimes they would say, well, my neighbor built X, Y, and Z. Can I do that here? But it's like every lot has different
yeah, that's a
dimensions,
good one.
right?
That's a good one. Yeah. So like maybe not about ADUs, but what you can do on your lot, right? So for example, right now we're in like basically in an empty lot,
We are.
right? But this lot, because especially because it's right along like a main road, could could be a commercial lot and could have a completely different zone than that house has over there.
Yeah.
So what applies here wouldn't apply there. What applies there doesn't apply here. And it's just across the street.
Yeah.
But sometimes people are like, hey, I know I can do this because my neighbor across the street did that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true. Sometimes, oh no, my next door neighbor did it. And
Yeah.
why can I do it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big misconception, right? That you think that you can do something that your next neighbor did or the person across the street. That's a big one, right? Because it all depends on the zone.
Okay, perfect. So make sure you guys always look at zoning and obviously contact the professionals. So first-time homeowners, once they begin doing an ADU, technically they're becoming developers, right? So can they take on more bigger projects?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because usually someone's like, well, I already did it once, I can do it again. Is that true though?
I feel like it depends on your pain tolerance, right? Like, um, and like how how
How much you like to work?
much you like to work and how much you're willing to learn, right? So yeah, sometimes some people are like, hey, uh, I have this lot and I want to do what you did on the other one, where you added 5 units. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, let's get started. I'm
Hmm.
excited. Let's do it. How much does it cost? I'm like, well, the plans are gonna be like this. Oh, but what about the build? And I'm like, oh, well, you have to connect with a contractor. What do you think they're gonna charge you? I'm like, hey, have you done something like this before? No. And I'm like, maybe connect with them first to see. Oh, I want to do a lot split on my house. Have you ever done one? No, but I'm like, I'm here to help. Like, if I can help you, no problem. Is this a flip? Yeah. So you're gonna be holding this for at least 2 years, right? Because it's gonna take about a year and a half to do the lot split. Just for the plans, you're probably looking for all the entire plan set. You're looking at least $75,000 for the plan set, not
Yeah.
fees, right? Oh, I didn't know it was gonna be that much and that long.
And that's the thing, it's
Wow.
like a lot of people pretty much, and if it's an investor or a developer, they're most of the time using hard money loans and you're paying interest on these properties. So yeah, that is something to keep in mind, right? Like the timelines and what you're gonna actually
Yeah.
do. Um, so what did you learn at the city that's helping you grow your business now? Like being
Yeah.
a plan checker, because now you have like inside information. How has that helped you build your business?
You know what? I think that's a really good question. I think the one thing that I learned in the city was that they're not the ones that determine what we can and can't build. They should be there to help us
Mm-hmm.
and should be a tool to get us to uh to our ultimate goal, which is creating a structure, creating a building, right? Honestly, I think that sometimes the city or sometimes city officials forget that,
Yeah.
right? I think como que se les sube un poquito, right?
And the
Maybe
title.
maybe they get some kind of entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's when people like me step in, right? And I try not to. I like to. You know me, right? Already for a
Yeah.
little while. I'm very respectful. I'm very nice. But I think one of the things that I don't like is being taken advantage of, or even or
Or
me
your
taking
client,
advantage of
yeah.
anybody, right?
Mhm.
But um, I think the city or people at the city, not everybody, of course, but they forget that they're there to help the community, to help you know
The
the
consumer,
people, yeah,
yeah.
the client. Um, so with that in mind, I kind of take that perspective to all my projects, right? Not in a way where I think any city official or anybody owes me anything other than their respect, right? And so number one, I think would uh be respectful and try not to elevate things. I'm not always good at that, but or escalate things. Number two, I guess would be learning how to talk to city, like to people from the city.
Mhm.
And then number three, obviously knowing the code, right?
Yeah.
And knowing where to look it up, right? Because one thing is, oh yeah, I know the code. Um, or one thing is like, oh, where do I go for what do you mean by the code?
Yeah, and if it's there, you can reference back and say, "I can build X, Y, and Z because it's written here." And
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's so like you're in real estate, right? So you're like you having a better understanding than most people.
Yeah.
But imagine you're a first time homeowner, you're 25 years old, and you want to build an ADU. Where do you know what is the code to mean to you? Nothing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And a lot of our clients are either first-time home buyers or first time they're doing their ADU, so they really don't know what's going on. So it's like your job to educate the client. And
Yeah.
I commend you because you do a lot of education and regular terms that anybody can walk out from a conversation with you and understand like, okay, I get this. This is what's going to happen.
So that's gonna be a new video, bro. The code. What is the code? Because everybody, even when I was in college, bro, uh, Bernie and sorry,
It's okay. You can call me bro. I'm okay.
no, you know
I
what?
called bro before.
I my professors would be like, oh, you have to be, you gotta read the code
Hmm.
or you gotta know the code. And I remember the first time we got an introduction to the code, whatever, like what I thought meant the code was they gave us a binder of like 600 pages.
Oh,
And I was like, I have to learn this? Like almost by memory? No, where's the cheat sheet, you know? No way. But there is like
yeah.
you don't have to know it all, but you need to know where to reference it, and you do need to know like the major things, right? There's building code, there's city code. Every city has their own municipal code.
I love that.
And
And you have to
yeah,
be aware of whatever city or jurisdiction
you
you're working in. Okay.
yes. So every time, so that's why people are like, Felipe, why don't you take a project in Riverside or San Bernardino?
You're not familiar with those codes.
Because
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's like I don't mind getting familiar with it, but it's like going back to school,
Yeah.
right? Because I
Yeah.
have to study it up and figure out what the particular requirements are.
No, and that makes
Yeah.
sense. And as a business owner, how are you balancing work-life balance, especially with having a toddler at home? How do you
Yeah.
balance work and life, like personal life?
I think that there's not such a I don't have such a good work-life balance, honestly. I just know what my priorities are, and one of my priorities is my family and my kids. So I just make those a priority, no matter how I conduct my business.
Okay, perfect. And what would you like viewers to remember? Like, what's the one thing that you want people to remember from this conversation?
Nah, so much. I don't know. I think I would say, um, I'll always do your homework, especially if you're thinking about doing a development project.
Mhm.
Do your homework. People call me and they want me to tell them what they can and can't build.
Yeah,
In LA, no problem. Call me,
yeah.
email me, and I'll tell you 5 minutes. And Riverside, Santa Clarita, Orange County, I don't know it, right? So
Do your
so
homework.
like yeah, like one of the things that I do with a couple guys that give me a lot of work, even outside LA, they go down to the city and they do their own research.
Okay,
And then they're like, Felipe, we know for a fact you can do this, and it's gonna be about this. Like, you got to follow some of these rules.
perfect.
That would be one thing, and then number two would be, and I think honestly one of the most important, like, don't be afraid to ask for a supervisor. I know it sounds very Karenish, very Kenish, you know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, supervisors will
But
escalate and get it done.
yeah, I would say like don't because you're gonna, especially if you're doing a development project and you know the code, it's easy to get into an argument with somebody
Yeah.
who believes that they're right, but then you're only overexerting yourself
No, that makes sense.
when the law is already with you, right?
Okay.
So don't be afraid to get a supervisor involved. Don't be afraid to um to share what you know in terms of the code. And then if you're in any profession, and then number three would be if you're in any profession in real estate, architecture, development, construction, don't be afraid to share what you know. I would say that's the biggest one, right?
Perfect.
Don't be afraid to share what you know.
Yay. And where can our viewers connect with you?
Yeah, so I mostly do Instagram. So on Instagram it's at LA Lot Plans, LA Lot Plans. So connect with me there.
Perfect. And one last thing I always like to tell my guests, thanks again for being with on Brenda Connects. But Southern California is so great and I love getting people's perspectives. What's your favorite thing to do here in Southern California?
Well, I'm from LA, right? So almost everything that I really like to do is in LA. But I like to get a semita down the street. They're gonna be like, fucking that. But yeah, no, that one's good. I like to go, you know, I like to spend a lot of time at the downtown library. Honestly,
Oh,
I
that's a
used to,
beautiful building.
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to go there when I was a really little kid by myself on the bus, and I take my kid there now. So
Oh,
it's if you haven't gone, I would definitely say check it out, downtown library.
perfect. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah,
Thank you for joining me today.
yeah.
And if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys connect with Felipe and myself and enjoy.